I could somewhat resonate with you a lot more than most of the other artists in the internet, because I've always seen many people, they go to grad school, they do cal arts, they have the professional arts degree, and they do have their success stories. But I couldn't relate to any of that because we don't have anything like that here in India. So when I heard that you did the same thing like me, without any studios here in your country, with animation being a background there, and still you could do your own effort, you did your own thing, and still you got the opportunity to work for a studio like Netflix right now. I could resonate a lot more to you than anyone else. And I felt like whatever you did, I would also want to do. And who better to ask that than you? So I chose you.
Hi everyone, back again. By now you're probably so tired of my student testimonials, but I'm just wanting to share with you every student experience that I have. And today we have a student all the way from India. I would like to introduce you to Jason. Jason, could you like really quickly introduce yourself? Tell us, where you're from, what kind of artist you are, like what is you're aspiring to do in the future.
All right, cool. So I'm Jason. I'm from India. I'm a storyboard artist over here in India, working for over 6 years now. So my dream is to do storyboarding for feature animation. But since I've not yet gotten the opportunity for it, I recently saw Raj has been doing his storyboarding for his own feature film. So I got inspired and didn't want to wait for the opportunity and just go ahead and start doing my own project just like him.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Jason. So the first question I want to ask is a question I ask everyone. Why did you decide to choose me? Because there are like so many options out there to take classes online, especially with professionals. Why did you say, okay, I'm gonna choose Raj and go with this one?
Okay, so there are particular many reasons that I had. The main reason was I could somewhat resonate with you a lot more than most of the other artists in the internet, because I've always seen many people, they go to grad school, they do cal arts, they have the professional arts degree, and they do have their success stories. But I couldn't relate to any of that because we don't have anything like that here in India. So when I heard that you did the same thing like me, without any studios here in your country, with animation being a background there, and still you could do your own effort, you did your own thing, and still you got the opportunity to work for a studio like Netflix right now. I could resonate a lot more to you than anyone else. And I felt like whatever you did, I would also want to do. And who better to ask that than you? So I chose you.
That's so awesome, man. And you said you also saw me. I can't remember if you said it was the first time or not, but you saw me on the schoolism interview, telling
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
that story
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah,
coming
yeah.
from a place like
So I had previously seen your work in Instagram, but never knew much about you personally. But when I saw the interview in Schoolism by Bobby Chewy, so I learned a lot about your past and how your story and how you did everything. It really inspired me. So immediately I messaged you, and you instantly replied to me. And I had that in the back of my mind while I was still working on my own stuff. Then, when it became a little bit difficult to do it all on my own, I thought I can reach out to you and see if you can help me.
That's awesome. And one of the reasons why, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it in any of these interviews, is that one of the reasons why I decided to do a mentorship is for people like me and like you who are not fortunate enough to be in North America to have access to these schools and to go there and afford these schools. So I always said there must be more people like me around the world who want to get into this industry. They're hardworking, they're talented, but they just don't have access based on their location. And that's something, I said, you know what, I want to find those people and I want to help those people. And you're one of those people, you know. So it's super awesome
Maybe
to hear that, you decided to choose me specifically because of that, right? Which is awesome. And for many other things, which we're going to discuss here, which kind of segue into the next question. You developed two sequences in the mentorship, one being more of like a prompt I gave you, and then the other one being like an original movie idea, a full feature length movie idea that you had. Like, if you had to describe developing and working on those sequences in the mentorship to those watching, how would you describe that process?
uh, the the process was actually very straightforward. There was no question on how to go about it. Maybe the initial 1 week of the first sequence, I was a little bit confused, maybe just for the technicalities,
Mm-hmm.
like how to start doing the thumbnailing. Because since I am from a background of doing for feature, I
Mm-hmm.
mean for television,
Yeah.
we don't brainstorm on ideas and stuff. We just follow the script, and it's mostly straightforward. We don't have much of brainstorming and stuff.
Yeah.
So for that part alone, I had a little bit of confusion on how to approach that. But once I asked you what is your idea of how I can fix those things, I could easily get into it, and I was actually having a lot of fun
Mm-hmm.
doing the entire sequence, which was based on your prompt, because that was very organic. It was not at all like I had to break my head and
Yeah.
think of some fake idea and do all of it. It was like very natural that you gave me a prompt of l- search for videos of animals
Mm-hmm.
and create a story around that. It seemed very organic and very natural, and you start thinking from a very like a very organic point of view, like how do animals feel emotions, how do humans feel emotion. That emotional angle, you could focus on it a lot more than creating your own story. So that gave me a very good starting point
Yeah.
to work with. And then when you jump started into my own project, I had all the basics. I had a lot of confidence that I can work on it on my own.
Yeah.
And most of the second sequence, I had very minimum doubts to clarify. I just You just gave me all the tools that I needed. I could do all of it without any doubts. So it was really fun. If I
Awesome.
could say one word, it was really fun and very rewarding.
So yeah, and even though we just worked on, I guess the prologue or the introduction scene of like your feature idea, we still had a session
Yeah.
where we figured out the entire movie, at least a
Yeah.
path for you to follow,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
now you can actually continue boarding that film and you have a destination. And the story was, I
Mm-hmm.
won't say we figured it out 100%, but at least it's there. You know, you have the confidence to kind of continue boarding and know at least where you're going with that full feature idea that you're working
Yeah.
on.
I think the uh, favorite part of my in this mentorship is probably
Yeah.
that I didn't have the idea fully figured out, because it was it was probably there in my mind, but I didn't know how to put it in paper, how
Yeah.
to put it in a process, how to put it in a pipeline and do it as a thing.
Yeah.
It was very confusing for me to like make steps out of it or make goals out of
Yeah.
it and start approaching it as a thing,
Yeah.
as a project. So I had the idea in my mind, but it was not helping me to just have the idea.
Yeah.
You gave me the structure and the practices of how I
Yeah.
can approach it, and get it done.
Yeah, and I think we literally spent like 2 hours just trying to crack the story in that
Yeah,
session, and that is
yeah.
something that we actually do at Netflix with our movie. We actually have story sessions where we're brainstorming, we're trying to figure out the right path for the characters and the film, and I would like to say that that is something that you could only get in a one-on-one mentorship where we just sit down for 2 hours and focus on your story. There's no
Mm,
one else there, for me to worry about, and I just focus on you, and we try to focus on that story. So, and that was pretty fun for me too. It's one of the most fun
mm,
parts, like just sitting and talking to somebody about their story and trying to help them actually figure it out. And then you, like, I see the light bulb go off in your head and, like, oh my God, yes, now I know, kind of stuff, which is super, super awesome to see. Um,
mm.
so the next question I want to
Yeah,
ask you is,
yeah. Sorry to interrupt
no, go
you.
ahead, yes, sir.
But yeah, what you said is true. But there are so many good things about the mentorship that I cannot just keep telling one by one, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
as you are telling me, there is another point coming in my head.
yeah.
So I think the biggest takeaway is, if you are wanting to do something that you're not comfortable doing on your own, like you are not used to doing it or you don't have the confidence to do it, I'm pretty sure that working with you, anyone who is not there yet, they will definitely get the confidence,
Yeah,
at least to know that they can reach on it, on that by
yeah,
themselves.
yeah. It's definitely, it's kind of like simulating work experience, to be honest, because we literally were doing the exact same thing. That
Exactly.
we And this is not just like, oh, you and your friend. This is you and a professional who's actually in the studio. So, like, what
Exactly.
we're doing is actually pretty much considered work experience. So when you get into the studio, you won't be like, oh, I never did this before. You'll be like, oh
Mm,
yes, I did
exactly.
this with Raj, and I kind of understand this process, and I could contribute to that
Mm,
process immediately, right? So
exactly.
I know you said that there's so many things that you enjoyed about the mentorship, but did you have something that was at the top of the list, like your favorite or the most valuable thing, and it's like this was the best thing out of the entire mentorship?
uh Top of my mind, the best thing that I probably got from the entire mentorship, if I had to say one point, is probably the work ethic that you have given to me.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you need to just push through your discomfort of having confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Like before, when I used to work on my own project, I will just keep marinating on my own thoughts and keep thinking of how to fix it and all those things. But it always gets me nowhere.
Yeah.
So the only thing, if I say I really learned from this mentorship that helped me a lot, is probably you pushing me to just go ahead with doing whatever is there in your mind. Like, as you go, you keep fixing it.
Yeah.
Do the thumbnails. However, it comes to your head, you just do the thumbnail. You don't have to think about the angles,
Yeah.
the camera direction, the camera movement, and all those technical aspects. They might come afterwards in later stages, but the storytelling is completely separated from the technical aspect. That thought never came to me before.
Yeah.
I used to always think that you need to go ahead with everything at once,
Yeah.
where you need to have your vision of each shot in your head all the time
Yeah.
for each shot. So that gave me a lot of room to explore the story more,
Yeah.
fix on the story first, and then go into the technicality.
Yeah.
So if at all there is one big thing, it's that thing to keep pushing on the process
Yeah.
rather than just stopping and thinking about it too much.
Yeah, yeah. And that is something actually not just isolated to you. There are so many students who do that, where they feel as though they need to make everything perfect before they actually start drawing. And I always have to convince them and show them that no, this is not how it works. in the real world, you actually have to get stuff down and then fix it, and then fix it again, and then fix it again, and then fix it again, right? And once you
Yeah,
understand that process, getting things down on paper is much easier than trying to make it
yeah,
perfect first, right? So
yeah, yeah.
this question might be a bit similar to maybe the other questions I ask you, but is there anything that you learned in the mentorship that you didn't know before, and it's something you know that you're definitely going to apply in the future?
Um, there are there are few things that I learned. Like it's probably a vague idea I had, and you just sharpened it a little bit more so that I clearly understand certain things. Like you had mentioned a little bit on how to uh, do the mm, pacing and scene selection
Mhm.
in terms of subjective wise and objective wise,
Yeah,
based on emotion and based on story.
yeah,
So that is something which is very unclear for most people, I think. Like it's just an instinct people have when they do storyboards,
yeah,
that they feel like this kind of shot is needed here
yeah,
and this kind of shot is needed here. But you made it into an actual concept
yeah,
so that I can perceive it every time I'm studying a film or
yeah,
watching a film. I can understand, okay, this is what they're doing.
yes,
So I can learn from that and put it in my own
yeah,
work.
yeah,
So that type of like clear studying skills from
mhm,
movies, how to study certain techniques,
yeah,
those things I would say is the biggest takeaway I had from the others, which I didn't know.
yeah,
Like studying films, how to study films.
yeah.
I think that is the biggest thing I learned.
Yeah, yeah. So that is specifically coming from like the point of view class, like where we were talking about subjective, objective, and knowing which shots to choose and stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. So you know, knowing that you went through this full 10 weeks, right, and seeing exactly what the mentorship entails, what I teach, how I help you develop the sequence, and the kind of requirements the mentorship has. Who would you recommend this mentorship to? Like, if somebody was looking for a mentor, like, what do you think that person should have and want, in order to take this mentorship?
Okay. Uh, I would definitely recommend someone who has a little bit of experience in storyboarding already, because uh, the stuff that you teach is very to somewhat intermediate to advanced level. So if you don't have a bit of knowledge about storyboarding, it kind of slows you down, because if you are new to storyboarding, you kind of have the uh, like you don't have the experience to do certain things fast, like doing the thumbnails fast and drawing it fast, getting the ideas fast. So those things might hinder you a little bit, but I wouldn't say that you definitely need it. But having a little bit of experience will definitely help you
Yeah,
going through it a little bit more smoother. You don't have to waste time learning the basics,
yeah,
which you can always learn on your own.
yeah,
Definitely from some course
yeah,
online, you can definitely learn the basics, learn it on your own, then come for something like a mentorship with a person like you who already is very advanced,
yeah,
so that you can teach them the nuances of how to take their storyboarding to the next level.
yeah,
When they already know the basics, they know how to do it, you kind of give them the nitrous or something so that they can push forward.
yeah,
So that it's like just a superpower that you give them, that, oh, wow, I never imagined I can do this on my
yeah,
own. So you are kind of the person who will give them the push to the next level,
yeah,
but not necessarily the best person for the introduction.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's a really great explanation. So for those of you who might be interested and you're on the fence, hopefully Jason's answer will help you make the right decision. If you're still deciding on what you should do, you can message me or Jason to ask us more questions about the mentorship to see if it's right for you. Currently, at the posting of this student testimonial, there are spots available both in my action boarding and my 10-week story mentorship. So feel free to message me. Jason, the last question I want to ask you before you go is where can people find you online, just in case they want to ask you more questions, they want to see more of your work or the sequences that you did in the mentorship?
You can find me at in Instagram at Jason Matt Art. That is JASONMATTART. So basically, that is a place I keep updating the work that I do on my own. Still, I've not uploaded my work that I did with you because I'm still cleaning up most of the stuff.
Yeah.
Because during the mentorship, I just wanted to get the project done and work on the cleanup later on.
Yeah.
So it has bit of work remaining. So I will probably upload few frames one at a time and then keep doing the process and then upload the entire thing.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Jason. I'll make sure to kind of tag you on Instagram and put your Instagram tags on LinkedIn. So wherever you're watching this video,
Thank
you
you.
can find Jason on Instagram, right? So again, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Jason, thank you so much for taking the time to share your experience. Hopefully,
Thank you.
it helps those watching make a better and more informed decision about what they want to do with regards to their journey in storyboarding. So thank you so much again, and thank you everyone for watching. See you around.